learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watches coming in on August 19th, 2020, and I just bought emerging market puts. There you go. You get a new title today, but it has to do with some of the stuff that we saw today. Is kind of a little bit weird here. Nothing really happened too much. We did hit new all-time highs today. It's this own little mini bull market. Technically, it is a bull market, kinda. I'm calling it kind of bull market, but the S&P 500 has hit new record highs today. But there was some things that caught my attention. So I'm going to go over that play, go over everything we saw, got the keys, got the plays, all of that, and then even what I'm looking for tomorrow. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the stock market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, we have the most culture anywhere in this stock market world. We got 2001 throwback hits. We got Mr. Hits. We got plays that hit. We hit the like button. I honestly am just going on a rant at this point, but the most important thing you need to do, post your watches below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. So right off the bat, the first thing, like I said, we touched new highs. We came down, but there was no reason why today. The close was still pretty good. NASDAQ was the leader. And you have been seeing the rotation a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. I want to see how it plays out. But so far, even with today, I think the bigger rotation is going to be between the real big market cap leaders and then some of these ones trailing behind. But in the meantime, we've hit new highs. It is technically a bull market now. Again, a lot of people were worried a few months ago, the virus. And again, some people are still worried. I think I'm still worried again, even future expectations. But a lot of people have a positive outlook. So does Wall Street. We've also seen numbers that have surprised. So the fact you went from hitting a low to a new high is new highs, new record highs, usually is pointing at a bull market. So it's kind of hard to believe. It's kind of weird to say, but you're seeing it. And if you have a long-term portfolio, you're feeling it. So watch that. But now that being said, there was some other news. Again, you saw news today, even with like Oracle. That was a big play that like they were going to be included in the TikTok deal. Amazon partnered with TikTok. That caused the stock to move. Then there was news that China is eliminating some like Apple loophole. And then there was a warning from the U.S. State Department or something around those, or one of those agencies, that colleges should divest their endowments of any China stocks. And then I got a message today on E-Trade. They're raising the margin requirement on Yang. So those were some stuff with the international side. But now also this commodity list that I brought up, this is important. And we saw it today. It really, I just kind of think this is the nature of the market. But the Iowa stuff and what happened with Iowa, it's like they're calling it the Iowa's Hurricane Katrina, but it wasn't a hurricane. It was a straight line wind. This was wild. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's big stuff going on in Iowa. I'm even like baffled, even comprehending it, even right now making this video. It's pretty wild, and I really think it's its own like gray black swan in a way. Even in general, if there's not that, there's going to be stuff with China. But this brings me all the way back to this commodity price list. I brought this up at the beginning of the week or even last week, and this is kind of what made me want to get into that emerging market play. But watch this again. Watch this in relation with gold and silver. This is what I'm keeping my eye on again, especially as we hit new highs, because depending on how commodities play out, it could give us an indication of really who's going to be the winner and losers as far as even companies. You know, this list doesn't necessarily mean that things have to go down. It could just point to kind of where the money is going, supply and demand more or less. But one thing I told you guys, watch if anything starts to breach above 15% in a year. And over the week, you're starting to see that again. You could even see the weekly moves on a lot of these commodities. It's been very big, and now some of them are breaching higher monthly moves. You can even see on the color chart, it gets like a little bit dark green, dark red, so on and so forth. But this caught my attention, and it had me kind of lean into some plays. But with us hitting all-time highs, again, I wanted something to prepare coming into the election, but it wouldn't be surprising for us to even just kind of hang out and not necessarily melt up, but market will kind of get used to handling some of these levels if there isn't any real new news, or at least that's what I'm going to be keeping my eye on. So that was the second main thing. Finally, I'd watch for a stimulus update. Again, we got some negative comments on it, I would say, more or less today, or they said the Democrats were willing to work and then so that they weren't. It was kind of going back and forth, but the fact that it's already taken this much time and you've seen people not really freak out S&P at new highs, I would watch for more so of a black swan in the sense that if they really surprise, call off the deal or anything of that nature. Otherwise, it seems like it seems like the market thinks they're going to get a deal done. Again, that's why the market, even if there's a lot of time in between, but as long as nobody is too reckless, this shouldn't affect the market, or at least that is the vibe that we're getting now. So we will see. But that is pretty much it. This week is still slow, but the fact we're hitting record highs and kind of some of this other stuff happening kind of across in the world and politically, it's moving slower, and the market has kind of been in a shock lull stage. So kind of waking it up or getting it to react has been a little bit different here. So I hope you guys are ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, the emerging market play EEM. So if you guys remember, we hit this play in March. Again, don't get your hopes up. I'm not even as convicted on this play. Somebody said, you remember UUP and I think IWM. We've been clapped on those. Those were insurance plays, and that's kind of how I see this. I did put a similar amount, I think even less. I put more money down on IWM and my last UUP, but I had more conviction towards the UUP play. So this play I'm not even really that excited about, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of getting this, and really even the whole nature of this play is kind of like with the Iowa stuff. We talked about it on stream. It's an external event, and that is kind of what's catching my attention here. And it looks like even with how Jerome's handling the situation, even if there was an event before the election or not, it's looking like it might be more likely that something abroad affects the United States versus the United States kind of doing bad. So that's where I'm looking at EEM and kind of some of these other foreign stocks, or watching commodities in the broader picture to see how it's going to affect our market, because it looks like we're doing pretty well. Merca! Sorry, I had to. But that's why I grabbed this play. So now this EEM, again, I did like, what, $1,400. What I grabbed was the December $28 puts. I got 100 of them at 14 cents, and the option didn't move. And I really, really like this. So again, the fact like I'm seeing stuff, commodities overseas, I'm expecting that to have an effect on the EM. And then one thing to note about EM, it's not just foreign stocks, it's even American stocks that get a lot of their revenue from emerging market countries or overseas. But what I like this contract is we got it, there was a lot of volume, it stayed the exact same price. So why do I like this is because it looks like we just got like a fair deal. You know, some people got to pin it at 13, you know, some orders were filled here and there, but usually when they're this illiquid, it would have a big wide range. And the fact that it didn't kind of made me happy. It made me excited, because that means something. At least this play is different than any of the other trades, because they've all fluctuated, or the liquidity was a little different. Now you're taking a look there. They do have a lot of open interest, and this is a widely traded ETF, but that caught my attention. So that was the play. Like I said, I spent $1,400. It is big. It's more of an insurance play, but I'm not as excited. I just kind of wanted my hand in the cookie jar. Like I'm saying, we're entering an interesting point. We're kind of melting up. I don't think it's going to hurt me to have this, considering you've seen I've been a little bit even conservative with the plays in the last few months. So instead of feeding my YOLO demon, I'm essentially feeding my insurance demon with some of these. So that was the first play. The next play was Oracle. Now this one I went big on. I thought I was going to quick flip it, but I still got time. And now this one was a pure premium snipe. Oracle got news. And again, I thought it was kind of BS in the morning, but the fact it was pushing up Oracle. And again, I don't know if this is the current marketplace, but even then, this is big volume on Oracle, and Oracle is kind of, you know, it's a slow mover. I hope you guys could see. That's why when it was up like 6% today, again, you know, in 10 years, this thing has moved 100%. So to some of you guys, you're like 100%, Kodak did that today. So this should give you kind of a scope, and, you know, they're a $169 billion market cap company, but they're a slow mover. So it was interesting that they were moving here. So why I played it was, so again, it was off the news that they were going to be a buyer of TikTok. But why I ended up playing it, where is it? Was it the 80s? Yeah, we grabbed 100 of the 80s at 8 cents. So I spent $800. I planned to flip it. I liked that it had time. And it was interesting how it even kind of held its value up throughout the day. But you could see it closed at 57%. But after I got them at 8 cents. That's 3 cents lower here than the change close. So minus 3 cents. I got this at like a 10% or like a 18% gain. But then at that time frame, even at like what, 9:43, you could see some of these other contracts were like $1.25, but they were trading at 80 cents even earlier, or even the day before. All of them were trading at 100% premium. And then if you even went, the weeklies were crazy, but you even went to October, the premiums in the morning were very, very nutty. You know, by 9:43 when I got those, some of these were at like 90 cents, but they were trading for like 30 cents the day before. That's like a 300% premium on almost everything. So that's why I like this play, because it had time, but it's really, really far out of the money, but I didn't pay too big of a premium. Again, you could see the day before was trading at 7 cents. So that's why I was like, if I could get 100 at 8 cents with every single contract from the weekly to January up, I just saw it as a good deal. And you could even see why I even justified the 800. So I'm still holding that. I didn't even quick flip that one yet. So I'm in that full position because I was like, well, I think it's a pretty decent deal. I want some of this TikTok action, baby. But that was the second play. And then finally, the last play that I'd want to be looking at today or for tomorrow, UNH. The Democratic National Convention, that's been occurring. It hasn't really been getting too much attention, but maybe something is said with healthcare. I remember a few years ago, this was something. I think it's a surpriser, but given the fact that Biden and Kamala are not really extreme on anything or healthcare, they haven't really spooked the market before with that, it shouldn't affect it. But I want to watch out for that just in case. We'll see. But again, don't forget about the election and all that. But that's otherwise it, unless there is, again, big growth movements. I like the Home Depots and the McDonald's and all that. But as far as everything else, watch Apple. They had news again, that China stuff. Amazon, the TikTok one, I would have played it if it wasn't already up 120 something bucks. So I want to see how they play out tomorrow. But they're making a pretty big move, and they're at a breakout point. So again, even with the NASDAQ, SPY, and Dow, we haven't really seen a breakout, and it still could happen. Like, I'm expecting vaccine news, but if anything else, we'll see if it gets sidetracked or not. Then Kodak, again, it went crazy today out of nowhere. There was like rumors, and then it fell back down. I mean, God bless you all. Good luck with that. Like I told you guys, the E-Trade sent out a margin increase on Yang. I thought that just caught my attention. Then Mylan, I also made a play on this one. They got news that they got approved for a drug that Biogen had. It's pretty much a Biogen generic they got approved on. And I tried to get 100 of these at 3 cents. I ended up getting filled on 30, so I spent 150 bucks. I'm still holding up. They went up and then came down, but seems to have been no effect. This probably was a dud of a play, but I'm still holding it. We'll see. Then, like I said, UNH, and then after hours, like INO, SRNE, and a lot of the biotech started falling after hours. So watch that. Etsy, I think there was news that their co-founders sold or something like that, but I don't know when that news came out and how it hit. But watch NVIDIA, they still have earnings. The options were really expensive and then fell. So be careful of that earnings run up, because it seems like the options have just kind of been all over the place. So I think they're high risk to high reward, but keep your eye on that. Walmart had their earnings again. Watch the continuation. They did good. They were up a lot during the pre-market, like 144, and then they came back down. So maybe watch for a one-day continuation or see even towards the end of the week. We'll find out, but don't lose track of them. Intel, we talked about this one in line with Apple, but kind of in line with the long-term portfolio, but we also brought that up today. I'm kind of waiting. Remember, they've been kind of getting crushed with everything, but they're looking a little bit interesting here when you pull them on the daily. So we'll see. Remember, we still have those January plays, but those things have really, really depreciated. So, or they just have a weirdly high spread, but I'm still holding those, but we're down on those. So watch them. Then we said Mylan, SLV. I like it because it's going up, but it's like having red candles. This should make the premium cheap. I'm going to see if there's an opportunity there, but watch them. Remind me tomorrow to look at those on the premium. Watch Bob. Again, they had a little candle during that news that the endowments would sell off, but they were even connected to EEM, believe it or not. And then finally, TLT, it did go up again. Like we said, people were talking about that Fed buying, but had some effect. Let's see what happens with bonds. Again, summer is still at that point we're going to see, but it's still pretty boring and exciting at the same time, so I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I rebuke any scarcity, baby. You know the time is coming. You know there's spreads and events. You know the power of options and the long term, so you don't need a trip, baby. Your time is coming. I'm really excited. The markets are oh man, I can't talk. Don't get me started right now. But the cult loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.